No, I'm just kidding.
You do this, it's not going to pick you up. You need to be talking right into them and about this close to it.
Close to it.
Yes.
Feel like I'm.
That text never went to you. Because I looked to see if you were on.
Just told them these are unidirectional mics. You need to be talking directly into the mic. If you do this, if you're one of these people, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to hear every other word, okay? So.
Nice.
Hey, Jeff.
Jeff?
Evan. I'm not ready.
What's up, Jeff? How you doing? I'm doing good.
I'm not ready for this.
Yes, exactly.
Really?
Yeah, so when I point to you, that's your cue.
Okay, I got it.
Just do this.
Yeah.
Brian's on the other side. But you saw me and thought Ryan.
Yeah.
I thought we were closer to that room. Sir,
Chuck, what are we doing later? What time does this end, Chuck? Yeah, here we are.
start rushing us out the side entry.
100%.
Well, what I seen was all the way in the back.
it's close enough.
We don't know that.
Got like 8 talking points.
That's true. You have all the talking points, but I probably have all the questions.
All the questions. Yeah.
Ready for me to roll?
Deal more with the common areas.
Good evening. Let's try that again. So sorry about that, but everybody's awake now.
Did she turn on?
Good evening, Summer Glen. Thanks everybody for coming out and joining us. We're going to.
Good grief. Yeah, turn off your mics for a sec.
Or a button.
Okay, let's try this. Third time might be the charm. Yeah, let me, a little softer. So we're going to turn this meeting over to United Landscaping. I'll do a quick introduction of who we have here. First, we have on the end Ryan, our agronomy manager. And next to him, we have Kevin Englert, who is our branch manager. And next to him is our senior business developer, Luke. And coming on down to the other side here, we have our account manager, Cody, followed by production manager Bryce, who a lot of you probably have seen and met. And last but not least, our irrigation manager, Zach. And with that, Kev, I'll turn it over to you and let you run with the show here.
Hey, thanks, Kevin. Again, our pleasure to coming out and putting our faces in front of you all that you may or may not see some of us. Hopefully you see Bryce and Cody out in the field. Cody's new to the team, but I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Luke, who is my favorite sales guy in the whole wide world, and let him take it off.
Thank you, guys. Sorry, I don't like that term sales guy. That's why I like the title business developer. Makes me sound smarter. Just real quick, I kind of want to talk, just a brief overview as to what we're going to be talking about today. Sorry, I looked away from the mic. We are going to have plenty of time for questions today. I'm a big believer in PowerPoints, just kind of keep us where we're going, keep us on track, move forward. Some of the things we do want to touch on today is just kind of why we're here. We already introduced the team, so we won't need to go over that any further. Just kind of what we've done so far, some of our performances and things we've seen, some accomplishments we've had so far. We know there are challenges. We want to spend some time addressing those and what our action plan to correct some of those issues are. We're going to take a little bit of time to go over that. Just kind of go over some of our responsibilities, what the contract has for us to be doing. Reporting and some of the tools that you guys have to be able to communicate with us. We want to spend a little bit of time talking about that. And lastly, which I know something you guys probably are all very excited about, is the chance to ask us some questions. I would ask you guys to just kind of hold off on some of the questions until the end, just because we hope we can answer some of those questions for you through what we're discussing. If you want some elaboration on it, or you want to, ask some clarification about those things, please feel free to do that whenever we go over some of these questions at the end. But guys, we want to cover as much as we can. We want to spend as much time as we can with you guys. We're at snacks. So if we're here for a little while, you guys can enjoy a little bit of food and drink while we're here. So again, what's the reason why we're here? And I'm just going to, there we go. Just very briefly touch on this. The idea is to just introduce you to the team. Some of you guys have met Cody, who is our new account manager, and Bryce, who's been here for a little while, but just get you familiar with the sites and the people that are on staff here to show you that Summer Glen is important to us. We also want to kind of develop or talk about those issues that we have had, continue to encourage that open communication with us. That's a big part of our success, is how we communicate with you, and just hear some of your feedback and address those concerns that you may have. We already talked about who the team is. So I'm going to go ahead and hand this over to Ryan for a minute to talk about some of the things that we've done so far.
All right, let me find a good distance for this thing. So again, my name is Ryan Mobley. I am the agronomics manager here at our Ocala branch for United, and I've been working personally on.
Did you turn your mic back on? I can barely hear you back there. Push the button that turns the top.
This one was a little bit loose, I guess, at the switch there. Can you hear me okay? All right. So, again, my name is Ryan Mobley. I'm the agronomics manager for United Land Services here in Ocala. I've been working on this property since we started our contract with you all this year. And I guess what the first thing that I would want to say is that when it comes to the plant health, because that's normally what I deal with the most, plant health, when you're taking over a new landscape, the first year you see a lot of different challenges. You try to understand how the seasons are going to be reacting, or the plant material reacting to the seasons, as well as different issues that may come up in the turf, whether that be drier spots, wetter spots, where are you going to get your viruses and funguses, where are you going to get your turf destroying insects. Same thing with the plant material. So what I've done is personally been on site for all of our applications that we've done. I come through quite often, at least 2 times a month, just to get eyes on everything to see if there's any small issues that we can take care of. We don't want anything to get out of hand and become a bigger issue for us. So in that frame of thought, what I've done is this year we have also started a testing area at our branch for different plant materials and turf, grasses especially, just looking at the efficacy of some of these products. So from my perspective, I look down and I see we're spending money on this, we're spending money on that. What is that? What kind of results are we getting out of that? And is it worth the spend for the budget for Summer Glen? Rearranging some of those things to still have the visual quality that we need. I've been able to deploy a few preventative treatments as well. So instead of being reactive and putting out fires, we're putting down products and feeding the plants in a way to prevent destructive insects and any sort of deficiencies with nutrients. The first year, I said, is a challenge, and we take what we learned from the first year and then push it forward into the future of our relationship together.
So, big part of this is turf, and that's one of the things we wanted to focus on. That's why I asked Ryan to speak about that, and he can answer some of those questions a little bit more later. Another thing we've tried to really work hard on is our irrigation with you guys, so I'm gonna let Zach talk about what we've done with the irrigation.
Yeah, so irrigation, we've basically just been trying to restore the system as we understand. There are a lot of battery operated timers, things that used to be on the golf course that have since been resectioned, say, into a common area. We've just been focusing on all of the issues that we've seen from a property that's been around for as long as this one has. Things have been updated, things have been changed, shortcuts have been had. We've just been trying to shore up these ends and make improvements as they go through. You see, we worked on the dog park. We got irrigation back onto the dog park, so hopefully the dogs are bringing less dirt home with you guys. The arbors, we had a pressure issue where the main line was planted underneath an oak tree that had been growing for who knows how long. Well, grew right around the pipe and pinched off our pressure, rerouted around it, and we got better pressure out to our zones that we were having trouble with. And then increasing the irrigation efficiency just as we move forward, changing nozzle sizes to not overwater certain areas, not underwater other areas, trying to be mindful of how we're using the water that we do have based on our St. John water restrictions, because we need more rain, guys. We need more rain. That's what I got.
All right, can you hear me okay? Talk a little bit about how we came in with some of the enhancements right away. Even before we were awarded the contract, we came in and helped out the landscape committee by planting a couple of windmill palms inside the pool area. We went ahead and took care of some of the annuals out front by the guard shack, trying to spruce that area up as best as we can within the budget that was given to us. There's a lot of stuff that we want to continue to do. We want to work with the board and with you guys and your budgeting purposes and trying to come up with areas that we can put into a CapEx plan for future years down the road, replacing some of the old shrubbery that are just aging out itself, taking care of some of the front areas. But I believe the curb appeal coming into the community has improved. And we're excited to continue on improving that area as well. Some of the diebacks from the frost damage last year, we went ahead and took care of some of that. We went ahead and replaced the Japanese blueberry tree out front, right behind the guard stack. Instead of just cutting it down to the root and trying to let it grow back, we trying to help speed up the process. That was a effort on our hand to give back to the community itself. So also, I know that we have a lot of softball players in the room, and we want to try to keep the softball field up. With we helped out with the warning track last year, and we're always willing to lend a hand on the irrigation side of it, or any other areas that are needed to help keep that spruced up.
So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Cody for a minute to kind of talk about some of the basic ongoing maintenance that we've been really working to try to improve throughout the community, and I'll let him kind of talk about that.
Good evening, everybody. So yeah, I'm gonna talk about the maintenance and appearance. So we had a pretty rough winter this year. So one of the things we focused on, were performing hard cutbacks to promote healthier spring growth, removing dead and declining plant material throughout the community. We've maintained the clubhouse and kept like a consistent high standard of quality. We take a lot of pride in this. The community centers, like, that's a big focal point. We call them hot spots. There's a lot of traffic, things of that sort. We're continuing to proactively maintain and monitor like the curb appeal. So I'm constantly out there driving around looking at things, that can be addressed, things that, aren't necessarily in the scope of our work, but bringing them to the community's attention and working out with them on how we can improve those areas. Managing the retention areas, we're pretty good and adamant about keeping those areas. Once a month we make sure we're on site to cut those back. Controlling invasive aquatic vegetation and maintaining proper water flow for those retention areas. That's pretty much what I got.
All right, before we get into some of this next stuff, and I want to make it very clear that we are aware there have been issues, and the next thing I want to talk about is some of those issues that we have been having on the property. We are, like every landscaper, there are going to be times where we do not succeed, and there are going to be times that we do a really good job. We want to make sure that we do address those issues, and we want you to understand we know a lot of those things that are taking place. So we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about what those are and what our action plan to do it and how to maintain this and do better going forward. So I'm going to let Kevin talk about the first big thing that I know that we've seen a lot of here that we are working to correct, and that's some of the damages that have been done by our crews. So I'm going to hand it over to Kevin and let him talk about that for a little bit. Turn off my mic. I like talking.
I just didn't want to pull a Kevin. the elephant in the room, damages, right? I know it's a negative term. It happens. My biggest word is integrity. I ask it from me, I ask it from my people, and I ask it for my crews themselves. Again, some of you may or may not know that we had to make a change, and some of the changes is, it's always for a good, positive change, because if I don't know about it, I can't help it, I can't get it corrected, so, part of my team is, welcoming aboard Cody to take over. He's doing a fabulous job so far, and I'm hoping to, continue that growth on it, so, with that, found out there's a lot of stuff that happened out here that I was not aware of, and that strictly falls on my shoulder. It doesn't go anywhere else, it goes onto my shoulders. And my biggest thing is if something happens, I need to correct it, I need to correct it right away. So, spent a diligent amount of time the last couple of weeks, getting back things up to speed and getting things back to where it's at. Not only, what I call the bad haircut or scalping. That stuff will grow back. It's ugly. It shouldn't happen. It does happen. It grows back. Some of the other damages, a little bit more permanent unless you pay someone to come back and change it and fix it. And that's the biggest thing, is to make sure that that is done on a most speed way, meaning the fastest possible route. And not only to work with you, work with the contractors and get things improved on it. So I have seen, and through, we have a reporting system called an issue track that we instituted back in beginning of June. Some of you may know of it. We'll talk about it a little bit later in the presentation. But with going through there, we'll see some different trends on it. But as I seen some of the stuff that some of the bigger issues about breaking windows have gone down significantly. That is due in part that we're spending more time with the crews, going over equipment, making sure that the guards are down, making sure things are there. Some of the stuff that we can't project is some of the materials coming up over the curbs or retaining edging materials that are falling into the cracks where the edger will hit it and kick it up where the guys don't see it. Stuff like that is unfortunate, but it does happen. Don't know how to foresee that, breaking that habit, but if that does happen, and we're trying to teach them to go away from the buildings, away from the cars, at all possible, but if it does happen, rest assured we will take care of you as quickly as possible. The other damages is, with the running into some of the curbs, again, we're curtailing that by trying to get the gentlemen and ladies on the mowers themselves more education. I know by looking at some of the reports coming through on the issue track, a lot of it is, how do some of you guys put it? The Indy 500 is not in Summer Glen. So yes, I agree with you. They need to slow down. During the turns, yes, they need to slow down to make sure that they don't pivot and burn out the turf area. Again, we are working very diligently trying to get the crews to adhere to that policy. Again, it's just a constant battle on any crew that happens, but we are working very diligently to get that stuff down. The other challenges are, basic safety in the community. It's our privilege to serve you guys through landscape and taking care of your guys' yards and stuff. At no times should our guys on the gators, on the mowers, in their personal vehicles coming in the morning, racing down your streets. That is a no-no. That is a hard pass for me. We've had some individuals that did that, some individuals that jump off a gator and talk to a homeowner. No, none of the employees that work for United should be addressing you guys in any ill-respected way. They should be very respectful. If that happens, please, my number is on the website. You can call me at any time. We will definitely take care of that issue pretty quickly. We do have our own safety program itself. They all should be in their uniforms, safety vests, and everything else. So blowing through stop signs, hard pass on my eyes. If any of that stuff does happen, we will take corrective actions right away.
So the other big thing that we've noticed, and this is not, it's not something that we're okay with. We want to make a point to understand that getting the route completed in a timely manner and service consistency. We know that there have been some inconsistencies with homes. They might have been done really well one week. They might have been done the next week where we missed blowing off before we left. It might have been a situation to where we didn't edge your sidewalk to curb or your curb to turf. There may have been situations where, again, we didn't blow it off before we left, rain hit, whatever it may have been. There have been times where we've scalped turf, where it's that inconsistency, and a lot of times it's that not getting through the route that was a problem for us at the beginning of the summer and into the growing season. We are still learning your community. I know we've been here since November, but things change very much. There's a drastic change in the way that properties are handled in April and May than there are in December and in January. So as we're learning the community, we are making steps to try to ensure that those inconsistencies are addressed. And some of the things that we've changed, and I'm not going to spend a ton of time because I know you guys want to ask some questions, but thank you.
Covered everything I wanted to ask.
I always believe in trying to answer questions before they get asked. That was something my dad taught me, and I try to maintain. So some of the challenges or the way that we've tried to implement this. One, we've made changes to boots on the ground, and we've made changes to leadership. That's a big deal for us. We want to make sure that things are taken care of the right way. The other thing, too, is just simple maintenance practices that we had. Before, we were doing large swaths of the community at one time. It may rain out, and then these guys move on to the next area before it got blown off, before things like that took place. One of the changes that we implemented, one was we're doing basically street by street, so that you're never going to end up in that situation. I'm not going to say never. I apologize. Most likely, we're not going to be in that situation where it starts raining and then we don't blow off your house before we go to the next thing. That should help out with some of the consistency going forward. That was a big deal for us. The other thing is we reorganize some of these crews to where they're operating at different locations so they're not all bunching up, and that's also been a big help for us to try to get through the service schedule in a timely manner. The other thing that we did too is we changed our mapping, which goes along with that, organizing our crews and how we're doing things. So our mapping has been a little bit different. We have an image of what those service maps are going to be up here, and I'll just put one so you can kind of see what it will look like. And I know there's going to be questions about, well, I'm in a blue area and I'm supposed to get taken care of on Tuesday. And we do. We want to be able to take care of that on Tuesday, but there are going to be situations. And part of our strive to fix things and do better is communicate those issues that maybe we did not do a very good job of. And I'm not going to say maybe. We did not do a great job of communicating some of those things with management here. That has been a big change. Again, that goes to, we've changed some of the crews, we've changed some of the leadership on that cruise. So these are the steps that we've taken to try to get the community, getting done in a timely manner, not missing those things, trying to reduce the Indy 500 that's through here, trying to reduce some of the damages that are taking place. We are really taking those steps to make those changes. And that includes training, like Kevin had mentioned. That includes integrity, knowing that we can trust our management over here. Those things are big steps for us, and how we communicate with you guys as well. Issue Track is a great situation, a great system, and we will talk about that a little bit more. But that's also an accountability for us as well, which we'll address that more later, and we hope you guys are using it. The last thing that we've done as well is just increase that supervision on site. so that there is constantly those people watching what our crews are doing. Those are the biggest challenges that we've seen that we are trying to address, that we have the ability to try to address more directly. There are other challenges that we know that come with landscaping in a community. Water management is another big one that constantly is in Florida. We struggle with it. We deal with St. John's Water Management District all the time, trying to address that. I'm just going to let Zach kind of very briefly touch on that, because I know you guys want to ask some questions, so we're going to try to hurry this along.
Thank you, Luke. Yeah, like I talked on just briefly a little bit before, St. John Water Management District is the people who tell us how much water we can use for our irrigating purposes. We are in a phase 3 water restriction, putting us down to just 1 day watering a week. Now, a lot of these yards are St. Augustine, and they really love water. So we've had our troubles with that, but I think for the most part we've been able to come and conquer it for the most part. Turf doesn't look too terrible, and we try to bump up a little bit if we can, where we can. So it's an ongoing battle, like I said. Want more rain so we can water more frequently. It all has to do with the aquifers on how much water we can use. So
Thanks, Zach. Weather, right? Can't control it. Can't predict it most of the time. I look at like most of you. I'm from a northern state. I had to deal with the white stuff most of the time, so I have 4 different models of weather I look at to make sure that I can try to guesstimate with the best route of action. Weather happens, it happens, but one thing I don't want to do is put a mower on a wet piece of turf and destroy the turf a little bit more. Like today, told Cody not to put the mowers on the home sections, but we still produced some pretty decent work production today by handling the common areas of the property and stuff. So if that happens, we communicate at the end of the day with FSR, with Marie and the gals in the office. Sorry, Kevin. But we give a updated report to them saying, hey, we got this far down. These lots did not get completed. We'll start with those tomorrow. And give a little bit more detail on the detail crew that what we've done and didn't do. That was a little bit more information that way. If you guys call in and at least Lisa and Marie have something in the office that they can go off of. Again, it is our true intention to get done like we have in the last couple weeks, to get through the routes in a timely fashion within the days that they are scheduled by the maps that we provide. Truly, we wish we could do it every time, but with the weather, with the way it is, and the chance of damaging stuff, we would like to be more proactive on saying no, even though we want to get the routes done. I'd rather have it be done safely and without any bad haircuts or skipped areas, or we didn't blow it off because it was wet and then I got a issue track going, you didn't blow off underneath the car. So we're trying to avoid those as much as possible, but we will do our best, and our best intentions is to have those done on Monday through Thursday, with Friday as a makeup day for anything that is getting pushed by the weather. So.
I know that got real loud. I know there are more things that you guys are going to want to discuss in a little bit, so I'm actually just going to go very briefly through what our contract is with you guys, and I think it can be somewhat helpful. Not everybody realizes what's in it. I think you guys are a very well-informed community, so you do know what we're supposed to be doing, what our expectations are. We want you to be familiar with that as well, because we strive to live up to those expectations. Again, we're not perfect. We're never going to be perfect, but our goal is to try to do as close as we can to these expectations and exceed them when we can. So Look at that, I missed a lot of skipping. All right, turf maintenance. This is something that I think we've done particularly well, especially throughout the common areas of your community. You guys call for 38 mowing cycles a year. That's basically weekly through May through October, and then bi-weekly, and then October through April. Striving to have a 4-inch cut with the grass. Again, there are going to be times where people did not adjust the deck of their mower the proper way. Whenever we see that, we want to address that and make sure it doesn't happen again. We do strive to do that as well. Edging and trimming, I know that's a hot button issue. It's supposed to be completed 20 times a year. Maintain a clean, defined landscape edges. That specifically really revolves around those sidewalks and turf. That's what we consider hard edging. Soft edging is going to be bed space to grass. And there's a different way of doing that. I'm not going to, there's a lot that goes into that. And I'm going to let Bryce say what the difference is between soft edging and hard edging real fast. Whenever a salesperson tells somebody how to do maintenance stuff, it doesn't come across as genuine as it does whenever a guy like Bryce does.
Hi, everybody. So like in landscape terms, or our guys out here in the field, we consider soft edge, as Luke said, the plant beds or beds around the house, tree rings, etc., to the turf. And hard edging. And when we say soft edge, though, we're also speaking with the blade, the edger with the blade. And then hard edging would be the roadways, driveways, walkways to the house or back patios, etc. What else?
Great.
Huh?
That was great. No, again, I know you guys have questions, so if I'm hurrying us through this, it's because I want to hear from you guys, and we want to be able to answer those questions directly. So I'm sorry if I'm rushing. That's not my intention. The other thing that we're responsible with the turf is fertilization, which is 6 times of turf applications per year, and that includes some of the disease treatments and insect and disease treatments. Ryan has done a fantastic job with that. One of the things that you see in these turfs around this area a lot of times is chinch bug, which you'll see heavy damages to St. Augustine from it. That's one of the things I can say with a lot of pride, that when you're riding down your main boulevard here, the areas that we are responsible for the agronomics for, you do not see a heavy presence of that. Whenever we do see that, Ryan has done a very good job of addressing that right away. And that's all the more impressive with the water restrictions that are in the area, because that applications do require water to go with it. So we have taken a great deal of pride in trying to maintain your turf as you're coming through the community. First glance, it's a huge deal and it's a big deal. And I'm not saying that there are not other issues, there are issues, but that is something that I think we have done a very good job with. The other thing is the beds and the ornamental care, trees, shrubs, and ground cover. Oh, look at that, I did. We're supposed to be trimming that 6 times per year during we do not believe that's going to be enough to maintain your clubhouse and the edging around the clubhouse and the trimming around the clubhouse. So we've made it a point to try to be here on a monthly cadence to address that in these hot areas. Sometimes it's a little bit more, sometimes it's a little bit less, but you can see the trimming around the clubhouse has been very maintained. Same thing with the fertilizer applications. There's 4 rounds of that. Ryan has done a great job of maintaining that. We also strive to remove that dead and dying plant material as we see it. There's going to be times where our crews maybe don't pull it, and they should. We do strive to do that. Whenever our production manager or our account manager sees it, we do get onto those crews to try to get that addressed. The weed treatment and the pest management treatment, again, Ryan has done a fantastic job. Whenever he sees these beds, they need to be sprayed. We put down some weed treatment for that, especially around the common areas. Same thing with the arbors in the back. Those routine inspections, as he said, he rides through here on a bi-weekly cadence to make sure that weed growth is not a major issue for you guys. I know again, I don't want to toot our horn because I know we're here for a reason, but these are things that I do believe we've done really strive to do well with.
All right, reporting tools. We do a couple of different various items with the reporting. Briefly, we're going to go through, we provide the board when we meet once a month and with Marie, site audits of the property, and we also include anything that Ryan may have sprayed during that month, and or always getting an irrigation inspection report from Zach and his crews. Those go into reporting for per the contract, plus is a helpful tool to see what's going out on the site. So not only does Cody go through and look at the site. I also go through and look at the site. My boss actually comes through and looks at your sites. So does Luke and everything, and some of the other managers. They will come through and take a look at it and forward on any information to the crews. That's why when Luke was going through the detailing on the trimming and stuff, I said, no, if I don't see it, if my boss doesn't see it, or Cody doesn't see it, we get the crews to go ahead and take care of those little issues. We're not going to wait a month for it to become a bigger issue for it, or it may be not an issue for you guys, but for a landscaper, it's something that bothers me. Just like when I go out to eat, my wife is always kicking me because I'm kicking the rocks off the sidewalk or trying to pull a weed out of a planter. So some of the things that just kind of picks me apart during the days. So again, site audits, at least once a month we'll get to the board. If not, sometimes I'll pull through, or Luke will pull through and do a site audit and give to Cody or Bryce going, hey, these are the areas I want you to take care of this month. Again, one of the bigger tools I want to talk about is Issue Track. Issue Track is a system for reporting not only damages, but hey, I'd like to have this service, or hey, I'm having some service done on my house, please don't mow. It's just not for reporting the bad things. So it's there. It's a very quick link. I believe that, Marie, you guys have it on your weekly email that goes out. I have seen a uptick from June to July, which I knew was going to happen. But not all of them were bad, so I appreciate that. And any kudos that do come through that way, we do make sure that gets down to the crews and stuff. So we appreciate that. One of the best things I like about Issue Track is that once you put an issue into there, or a question into there, once we receive, you'll receive a notice that it's been received. We'll get back to you shortly. At that point in time, it goes into a hopper, which goes directly to Cody's email. Cody gets that email and then has literally only 24 hours to respond to that before I get buzzed going, hey, there's a work order that hasn't been addressed. It's a little catch system, so that way things get addressed in a timely fashion. So he may put in there, anytime a note gets put in there, you'll get a response back saying there's movement on the process. Generally, we don't try to close them out unless we have positive reinforcement that they were taken care of, or the gentleman has been, one of these two gentlemen to my left have talked to the homeowner and has it resolved. So if it gets closed out, we can go back to find out who closed it out and when. So if there's a repeat one in, and I go back to the original one and look at it and see what the resolution was. And I keep the hard copies in my office with handwritten notes and stuff like that, in case I need to go back and take a look at them. So again, it's a quick, fast area. Not only does Cody sees them, I see them, Marie, Lisa, and Kevin, if he wants to, can take a look at them as well. And then once a month, we report to the board of what's going on with them. So again, I believe that in June, we had 62 or 63. A total of, up until August 1st, we had 158 inquiries.
And again, I'll touch on that a little bit too. So Issue Track, one of the things I always like to tell people about that, it's not, we don't view it as a gotcha for us. We want to have that transparency with you guys as to whenever you guys have an issue on your property, you let us know. Sometimes, you can go to the office, you reach out to Marie, she can let the production manager know, or she can let the account manager know, and it's another step, it's another step, it's another step. And Marie is awesome, and FSR is awesome. But this allows you guys to be able to communicate with us directly. Whenever we close it out, you get an email back that says what we've done. Now, there are going to be some things that obviously we cannot fix in 24 hours, but we can say we've taken the steps to do this. What Kevin didn't mention about issue track is, yes, it does go up to Kevin after the first 24 hours, but after 24 hours after that, it goes to his boss, the regional manager, and it continues to tick all the way up. So this is an accountability for us, but it's also a communication with us and you guys. So we can see if there's an area that we are, maybe for whatever reason, it seems to be a hot button issue, we can track that and we can identify those areas and try to work on fixing those. We implemented that in June 1st for you guys. We you know, maybe we wish we probably would have done it a little bit sooner, but now that we have, we can start to see some of those areas that maybe we're being neglected or maybe we're not necessarily being serviced as top as they should have. So we can see those as you guys report them, and it is a direct communication with us. So we did expect there to be an uptick from June to July in those, and honestly, we expect probably there will be a little bit more of an uptake from July to August because some of you guys probably have never used it or have never tried to use it. The nice thing about it, and I'm not gonna do a big sales pitch on Issue Track because I don't work for them, but I do believe it is a really good tool because a lot of times I'm young, but I'm not crazy tech savvy, and I don't like having a bunch of apps on my phone, which I'm certain a lot of you guys are the same way. This is a website. It's a web portal. You just put your email in, you put your name, you put whatever the lot number you are, whatever the issue is, and then they'll send you an email back directly so that it's not going through some website where you have to verify you're not a robot 5 times before you can submit something. And I know that is a concern. I know a lot of people don't like signing up for stuff like this because they're worried that that's going to be the case. We encourage this because, again, we want the accountability. We want to be transparent with you guys on the things that we are doing to try to fix issues or whenever we miss something. And it could be a situation, and I'm talking very fast and I apologize, could be a situation where you're so used to being seen on Tuesday or whatever it may be, and the weather hit you and bumped you to Wednesday. And maybe that wasn't communicated right away to you and you put that into us. That's not a bad thing. We can respond to you with something like weather delay will be there on Wednesday, whatever it may be. Our goal with Issue Track is to be as transparent as possible. And you can kind of see some of the reports from it. I'm not going to spend a whole lot more time talking. I know, Kevin, is there anything else you want to add before we open up the floor?
Again, we talk about you guys sending it in, but Cody and Bryce know that once a issue or concern gets inputted, I would like to get it closed within that day. So that is my goal. I'd like to try to get that done so that we can get them in and closed out. So those are our goals to get, like I said, make sure that gets done quickly, and you guys get the email back saying it's been done, or after the meeting on site or anything else, it gets you guys get the confirmation that it's done. Now, the other good thing about this is that, again, Marie and Lisa and Kevin, you know, and the board have access to this for any reporting. So there's nothing. Our integrity's there, so we're not hiding anything. We want to make sure that they're done to satisfaction. If it's not, we'd like to have a conversation. If, again, I hate to say this, but my number's out on the website underneath the Ocala branch. So any concerns or anything else, a lot of the residents do have my number, and they call me a lot. But again, it's a privilege to be your vendor, and we want to make sure that we're taking care of you and your property. So without further ado, I know there's probably be a mad rush than mics, so I urge you guys to be slow and cautious. We'll open up to any questions that you guys have.
Hello.
Make it short for me. My name is Mike Ziegler. I live at lot 903. First of all, how do we access the issue track? What's the link? What? Broadcast?
We could go ahead and email it out, e-blast it out tomorrow again.
Okay.
So we've done it, but we'll do it again tomorrow morning. Make sure everybody has that link to be able to do that. And I've also, if you aren't able to do it and you call my office and speak to me, I will enter anything for you and then put your email and all of that so you get the responses and get all the notification. But we'll send it out again tomorrow morning.
Okay. The,
I'm sorry. Our Summer Glen website has a link to it as well.
okay,
Yes.
I'll look. Some general issues, and not so general. The freezes were not very kind to me at all. I've got some areas that were really burned out. What I'm doing is top dressing. There are some areas that were dead, and I'm putting heavier top dressing on them than others. There are some other areas where I'm just generally broadcasting the top dressing to try to get the turf coming back to what it was last year. Where I'm putting the top dressing, since your mowers are broadcasting, they're not set up for mulching, you're tending to throw the top dressing wherever, the cut grass is flying. And I don't want that. I put it where I want it, so I don't want it being broadcast in other areas. How do I handle areas where I'm putting down the top dressing and I don't want the mowers to broadcast that throughout the yard? Let me finish with all this, and then if you can respond, like,
Yes, sir.
you have to hold your answers. You have to hold your answers the way I was holding my questions. A second issue is all my beds are curbed, and there are some areas where the 46, 42, 54, whatever, the width of the mower, there's some areas where they can only go one way each time, and they're using the same track every time, and I'm getting some really deep ruts. What can I do about that? And how can you address? I mean, there's no other way to route the mower. It just, that's the way the curbing is. And the last thing is, if I simply want to handle my own yard my way and keep your mowers off, and maybe have you do the edging, but not mowing, how do I handle that?
I can answer that. So for the areas that you don't want us to mow, what a lot of homeowners are doing is flagging out the areas, and our guys know if they see flags, we're not mowing that. And then as far as the one area, we actually just recently got a push mower. So that's what this is right here, is a list of properties, and you're on there. So that side of the house will be push mowed.
Let me add something real quick about, we'll probably be discussing this tomorrow in the board meeting, about à la carte, because our contract is basically all or nothing type of thing right now, so we will be discussing that in the board meeting. So again, it's a touchy subject, I know, but we had to bring it up because it is very difficult for the guys to mow this and edge, don't do this, don't do that. So I'm not saying that it's not gonna go that way, but right now, as far as the contract that we took over the contract and submitted the contract was for, yes, homeowners can opt out of services, but it had to be all the services or not. So again, for right now, like Cody said, we did buy a push mower to make sure that we can identify the areas that are being damaged, where they're trying to squeeze the mowers in where they shouldn't be being done. So, and that's just another step of what we're trying to do proactively to help you maintain the grounds that they are.
Okay, and if I wanted to handle my yard myself totally, how do I mark it? How do I flag it to let you know?
right now with the board and stuff, they're putting red flags out.
At the lot number? So
Yep.
just right at your lot number, just put a red flag. We have flags for you in the office. So if you. Okay, well, either way, if you don't want them to mow, you put a flag in the front, and then in the back, just put another flag so they can see it, because sometimes they're going along the back and they don't know. And that'll mark it as not to do it.
Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you for coming tonight. My name is Gail DiFrancesco, Lot 844. Okay. On June 29th, work order 848423 was issued. The mowers came along and knocked down our stone wall. Stopped, picked up the Belgian blocks, and dumped them in the middle of our island. Should I go to the other one? Okay, is that better? Okay. On July 6th, the work order was closed. Andrew was the author of this. I understand he's no longer here. I hadn't heard a word. About 2 weeks later, two gentlemen with the United, were you one of them?
Yes, ma'am.
And we stood in our driveway
And I
and
promise-
shook hands.
Yep, I promise you within 2 weeks I would have it put back on.
Nada. Nothing.
Okay, I'll stand up and put everything on, because I told you that I would have it done within 2 weeks, because as this meeting was supposed to be last week, I had a prior engagement that I would be out of town. So again, I will stand up and tell you myself that I told you about the blocks that would be put back, that they would be cemented in to be best. Okay.
Nothing. There's holes. I look like a toothless pumpkin on Halloween.
Okay.
So I just want to bring it to your attention. We shook hands and away you went.
No, I hear what you're saying.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm just here to make sure everything is done.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Barbara Gainer, Lot 1015. I don't know who I spoke to on, it doesn't look anybody familiar here, but I had just had my gardener redo all my beds last week. They came with the mowers, they came with the edgers, or whatever they call them. All the stuff that I just had redone was going into $1,300 or more. They blew all grass in all the new stuff. There's no reason for it. We never had grass blown into the beds before the way they were. They fixed part of the beds, they put new mulch down, but another part of one of the other beds in the back still was not taken care of. I mean, here we're trying to beautify our property, and you come along and they just go crazy. Before that, we never had that much grass in the beds before. All of a sudden, this last time, it was like you could just pick it up with your hand and put it in a barrel. And I know I spoke to Marie, and she got the gentleman over to the house to do it. He did the pine bark, but he hasn't done the mulch in the back bed. That has not been done. And it's really heartening. I mean, there's no reason. I have curbing throughout the whole yard. When we first moved here, that was what was suggested to the people who own homes, so the people cutting the lawns and stuff like that wouldn't take our stucco off the house. So we did that. And now we're suffering for it because it's not being taken care of properly. You're not supposed to take a weed whacker and whack the grass into the bed. And that's what they did. And you can see it. I mean, right now you can't because of the rain. There's the edging material, the edging, I guess you call that apparatus that you use for the sidewalks, and that's what you have to use around the bed. And mine was just done. The, what do you call it, the gentleman who does my lawn, he just did all the edging. He just did it. It was all fresh. They didn't have to go with the weed whacker on top of it and go down below and, bring all that stuff into the beds. So somebody is not showing these people the right way to do it. When there's curbing, they've got to take a little bit more time. And I'm not going to, tell you people that I'm going to do the curbing and not, and they tell me that they're not going to do my lawn because I just want to take care of the curbing. That's not the way. I mean, I just want my property to look the way it's supposed to look. Thank you.
Thank you.
Rick Vetter, lot 915. I'm one of the people in the community that cut my own grass. I have followed all the instructions, and I put the red flags up, and I want to thank you for doing what you're doing. Prior companies have decided, I don't care if there's a red flag there or not, I'll just run over his flags and go wherever I want. Your company has not done that, and I applaud you for what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's one to put in the book, guys. Don Lenio, lot 280, 14th Ave Road. The guys do a good job of edging the street in my driveway. Never has a problem since you've been here. I do have a problem, however, in mower height. I think your 4-inch mowing height is more like 3, especially on my street and all the blocks around me. And I see the same, I'll call it scalping, outside of our front gate. So wherever that 4-inch is, I'm not sure how you're measuring it, but I've been here 20 years. I've seen people like yourselves come and go. You're about the 5th company that I've seen. And we won't know what that 4-inch is until the next company comes in. But I see a diminishment of the quality of all of the lawns around me because they're being cut too short, particularly this year in the extreme heat and lack of rain. The grass does not have enough time to recover. It's being damaged by pests and disease because of the stress on the grass. So I'm not really sure why you haven't really set your mowers up rather than down. But that's my complaint in general. The other thing is, I'm not sure what's happened with the hard edging around our hard beds on our properties. Is that not being done anymore, or is it being done? Because all I see is a string trimmer coming around my house. And the people using the string trimmers haven't been trained properly on how to use it as an edger, because they're really just cutting the grass level with the rest of the lawn instead of tipping the string where it gets the edge of the edging on the beds. So can you tell me whether or not you're supposed to be string trimming or hard edging?
I will tell you the edging of the hard curbing around any beds, trees, is done bi-weekly, and that's exactly what they should be doing. It would be the 90-degree angle with the edger, with a metal blade.
With a metal blade?
Never, ever with the weed trimmer. So again, that is what we follow as best management
Yeah,
practices.
well, that's what I thought it was, and I understand that.
And so, again, those individuals that we find that are doing it
But my lawn
improperly-
hasn't been edged in 6 weeks, at least. It was done once this.
Your lot number again?
280.
280, okay.
14th Ave Road. At one time, there was a gentleman that came around. He did a great job, but, you know, I haven't seen him in 6 weeks. But at any rate, that's my issue with edging in general. And I don't only see the lack of it on my lawn, I see it up and down my street. Because when anyone drives the streets, and I don't know why HOA doesn't notice that, you can tell whether or not beds have been hard edged or not. So, I mean, it's as clear as black and white. And that diminishes the quality of the community in general. Because soon as somebody comes in and they see that lack of maintenance, they're all of a sudden wondering, well, what else is going on here? What else is it that I don't see? I'm seeing this doesn't look great, but what else is there that I don't see? So hard edging is an important thing in any community, and that's what's lacking in most communities.
So in the industry, we call hard edging against the driveways and sidewalks and the street curbs and stuff. And soft edging is anything that's, even though it's curbing and we still do it every other week around the beds and stuff. That's a real issue, and we will look into this lot and make sure that it's getting done. I know that we've given Marie and the boards the same type of map that was displayed on here. The only difference is that it shows the frequency of what side or what areas get the soft edging, what week, every other week. So like day one, we would soft edge this portion this week, and then day one of next week we would do the other side. So that's all lined out
Well, I can
in
see
there.
that, yeah. But I
So,
mean,
but
when weeks
again,
go by and I don't see anything, there's a problem.
yep,
So
absolutely.
you're telling me I should not see a guy with a string trimmer or
I'm
a gal
not,
with a
well,
string trimmer
when every
coming
other,
around my curbing?
well, I'm not gonna say ever, because if the bye week, right, if the mower not getting that close to your curbing to cause any damage with the decks, then yes, they need a string trim next to those
You know,
curbs.
That's not
So,
the case on mine.
well, I'm just saying that some of the properties, you know, they have
I
the
could see where that
curbing
would be.
that are, you know, it's 2 to 3 inches above where the top of the grass is. And so then, yes, then every other week or almost
Yeah.
every week, even though we hard edge, you know, during the soft edge process, I know it kind of sounds silly, but,
I
but,
don't want to belabor the
Yep.
point, and I don't think you should
Yeah.
either, but, you know, as I said, the block of Lot 280, I've never seen a hard edge in months.
all right,
The other issue I have is with the DRA in front of the 10th green. That looks like a jungle. Every other company that's been here has had a four-wheel drive tractor with a bush hog. And before that transition period happens, dry to wet season, they're in there getting that stuff down to the ground. I don't see that happening. I've never seen that happening, and I don't see the planning of that taking place of what they really need to do. All they're really doing is taking a regular mower in there, or your gang mower and trying to mow the short grass. But, I mean, by the end of the season, there's gonna be 10-foot high weeds in there. I mean, which is really kind of silly. And you're trying to keep part of the grass mowed for the golfers, which I applaud and I understand, but the rest of it looks a mess. There just needs to be better planning, and maybe rent some equipment for a day at that transition period where you can get in there and do the right job.
we
Some
do
of
have,
the-
we do have the equipment.
Some of those DRAs are not handled by this particular company. So some of the DRAs are handled by the landscaping company that does the mowing for the golf course.
So which is number 10? Is
I
10 them
believe
or
it
somebody
might
else?
be the golf course,
The
but
golf-
I
My-
have to.
My promise to you is that Cody and I will definitely look there
Okay.
tomorrow.
Well, then my complaint goes to either you guys or the golf company. And I think the golf company has the same problem with mowing heights. They're killing all of the community grass that abuts community streets. They're shearing it to about 2 inches high, and at this point in time, all you have now is weeds and no grass anywhere. That's my comment.
All righty. Sue Rodriguez, Lot 819, also a member of the Design Review Board. So I want to address edging. Edging seems to be a big complaint, and that seems to be a primary problem in trying to get that satisfied. So let me address that from a DRB standpoint from our rules, which requires the bed edging to be concrete, steel, or heavy-duty vinyl. Now, this edging is to extend 1 inch above the mulch. So, and this also applies to rock beds, which is a problem in itself, I know. And is that edge high enough for you to string trim and or blade, use the blade? Is that 1 inch enough? Do we need to change that? I'm talking about the edging that goes around your beds. How it should be 1 inch high, sitting above the mulch by 1 inch so that you've got room to do that. Is that enough for your string trimmer and your blade? Is that the problem we're running into? You weren't ready for me, were you? No.
I didn't recognize you.
Yeah. Well, it's a rainy hat, you know.
Okay, so what I'm noticing throughout the community, and I don't want to drag it out, is that you have some curbings that were installed, let's just say 20 years ago. You have some that were installed 5 years ago. Now the difference in height in those with the turf is drastic. Some
Yes.
are almost level with the turf, and then you have the newer curbs that are 3-4 inches above the turf.
Yeah, that's right.
So I mean, and your
There-
description is an
It's
inch from the
our rule
inside?
requires that edger be 1 inch above the mulch, so you should have at least 1 inch above that mulch that you're not
That's
running
fine.
into the mulch.
That's fine.
So do we need to increase that? Is that enough for you to work with? That's my question. And I knew some of that, the edging will drop into the sod, and then you have nothing. So what I want to know is how you address that. Is there something DRB can do in their rules to increase that edge so that we get a better cut around those landscape beds? Or how do you address it when you get to a bed that just can't be edged because the edging's dropped into the sod?
And we find it. You know, I mean, I don't know how to answer that. I'm sorry.
Well,
I think the first step is to make sure that, as Kevin and Cody are saying, that I need to make sure that these guys are following the process and their steps, the schedule, the routes, the routine.
Well, I would like to see if we could solve the edging problem by addressing the edging. If that needs to be done, does it need to be done by a rule? Does it need to be done?
I don't think so, Ms. Rodriguez. I just think once we do what we're supposed to do, everything's just going to fall into place. I don't think once we edge it, it's going to be there. We're going to see the edge. We're going to continuously be able to edge it because it's going to be there.
And what do you do?
Whether it's below the turf, whether it's above the turf.
What do you do when there's no edging at all? There's no edging left. How do you address that?
Go ahead, turn your mic off.
Because sometimes drops right level with the ground. I've seen that.
So with the different types of edging that is out here, each one is going to have to be handled differently because we don't want to put a hard blade edge against a plastic edging material, right? So again, that is what Bryce is trying to convey, is that each one is going to be handled differently. And is it a challenge in itself? Yes. Do we, as professionals, should be able to do it? Yes. As far as what you guys decide as a landscape committee or ruling on it, we would have to come back to you with that, because you got some of these homes that have the curbing that's been there for 20 years. Mm-hmm. Some of them is, I think you might be a challenge in itself to get it all changed itself. And that's something that we need to address internally here, making sure that we're handling each house, even though it's a little bit different, if it has metal edging or if it has curbing or it has, obviously, we know what the contract states and we know what it, best management practices of having, making sure that the person handling the edger is having a 90-degree angle towards the surfaces. Last thing we want to see professionally is edging that is concaved or stretching at an angle and just make it more of a wider gap than it really needs to be. The edging there is just, especially with the term soft edging
Yeah.
for the beds and stuff, is just to create that little gap to cut any roots and stuff that are just, towards the top of the surface.
Well,
And then,
the- The edging is an issue, so we do need to address it. Whether it be the homeowner who needs to improve their edging so that you can actually edge around the bed, or is it something you can tell us the way you want to address it, or when there's no edging left at all because it's met the sod. I mean, we just need to address how this edging is around these beds so that you can trim them with a blade cut primarily, or the trimmer. That's all we need to know. How do we address this edging issue?
And I think the best thing for us to do at this point in time is we'll get back together with you guys, and after we sit down and talk, we reach out to our leadership and some of our people that's in our company that can kind of help us offer a better insight onto that. One of the nice things is we've got resources throughout the Southeast that we can use to reach out for things. If there's something that's got us a little bit, I don't want to say stumped, but something that we can address with a little bit of extra resources, we'd be happy to do, and then kind of reach back out to you. Because one thing we don't want to see is we don't want to see you have to go and change every rule that's going to require everybody to come through and add an extra inch to their curbing and things like that. We want to do what's best for you guys and what's going to help your community thrive, and how it's going to be beneficial for you guys as homeowners. So we're going to get together, we'll review some of the different curbings that we see, review some of the things that we know are issues, and that's why we're happy to be here to hear those things and try to come up with a solution for you. I don't think we're going to be able to say, yeah, it'd be a great idea for you to raise all your curbs by 1 inch. I think that's going to make everybody in there even more angry. So we want to make sure that we come up with a solution that is going to work for the community, but also work for us to be able to have best management practices.
Yeah, we just have an issue there with the edging, so we
No,
need to
absolutely.
address
We
it.
know that.
Whether it be the homeowner, whether it be United, but we just need to address it. And also the 4-inch cut on the moors, I think you need to check those moors because our cut last Wednesday in that 819 area, it was cut so short that I had grass laying on the top. I actually had to rake it out. So you're cutting that too short. Check that 4-inch.
Oh, you're going to be pleased with what I have to say. My name is Carol Steck, and I'm in lot 1006. And number one, my husband has commented on several occasions that the edging has never been done as well in the 10 years we've lived here. So, different perspective. We're very happy with the way things are being edged on our property. Also, just for those people who have not had the opportunity to use Issue Track, we did have something come up, and I think it was right before the system was released. So I had called the office and I had talked to Marie, and she said, I'll take care of it. She said, so we've got a tracking system, I'll enter it in there for you. Had two separate things. One of them was an interest in Mohawk cut on the lawn. They had it fixed, by the next morning. It's like they had done the outside and forgot to come down the middle. So that was fixed immediately. The other was it's the backflow, not the black flow, it's the little white things that occasionally get. Anyway, I got a daily email from United advising me exactly what the status was. They said we had to get some parts, they didn't have this. Daily updates, keeping me informed. And when it was fixed, one of you probably are here tonight, actually came to our door to let us know, here it's been fixed, here's the broken pieces we took out, make sure I was happy and satisfied. So I just want to say thank you. I think you're doing a good job.
Thank you. The sewer cleanouts is a nasty thing that we in landscaping hate most of the time, but the ones that are on this property, if we do hit them, we are generally trying to lower them so that doesn't, as we repair them, we're lowering them down so that way they're not being hit the second time.
If 1007 loves the way their yard has been edged and mine hasn't been edged in 6 weeks, what does that tell the team?
My managers need to do a better job QCing. we'll get it done.
Good, thanks.
Hello, Dave Clunk, 472. I closed on December 3rd to the house on 472 lot. And the yard wasn't exactly in the best of shape, so I've been trying to improve the lot, especially in the backyard. I bought some St. Augustine plugs where the tracks where your front were and flagged them, and they came in great. They're turning out great. The front yard's looking good. The backyard, I've got about a foot and a half right along a back patio area where it was pretty scalped and down to sand and whatnot. So I bought a bunch of the plugs, put them in, flagged them, let them grow up 8-10 inches or so. Took the flags out. You guys came back in, trimmed them down to about a ½ inch again. Put the flags back in. Let them grow back up. Took them back out. ½ inch again. St. Augustine plugs don't survive on a ½ inch of grass. They don't root. They've been pulled out. I've tried to put them back in. I've lost a lot of them. I don't know what your guys' protocol is for what you tell your edgers. How high, I mean, should they be cutting it? But it's down to about a ½ inch right along my block wall, which, you know, I've spent minimal amount as far as, you know, not sod, but the plugs. Probably put in 3 flats of them, and
We will, Cody and I and Bryce will take a look at it tomorrow.
okay.
With your
Well,
permission.
I've got them flagged already, and it's growing back. But the Bahia is all coming back in. The St. Augustine is not, but the Bahia and everything else is. The weeds are growing up, and they're probably 8-10 inches again.
I'd like to see where the area you're talking about. That way,
That'd be great.
We can take pictures of it, and we can use that as next week's training purposes.
That'd be fantastic.
So that way, again, our goal is to educate the crews on different types, you know, edging and areas like this. That way, we can, you know, better educate them to get a better service out of it.
That'd be fantastic. I appreciate that. One other thing is my lot does back up to a DRA. I wish you'd tell your people when they're up along the yard lines, have them shoot the grass back into the DRA versus into our yard.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Hey, real quick, with issues that are like that or something that you are trying to work on with your property, feel free to communicate with that to us through that issue track system so that we're aware of it. There's 1,100 homes here. Whenever you have something that you're working on or there's an issue that maybe you want us to have a little bit more caution around your property, like you're doing those St. Augustine plugs, that helps us to maintain that and know what's going on with those individual areas.
That and the fact that some of you may not be aware, and I probably didn't say this in the beginning, and I apologize. Issue Track does accept pictures. They come out great. They're a great high quality. So anything that you see on your property and you're sending it to me, I can see it really and clear. I can print them off, and we can circle things, and we can give them to the crews to say, don't go anywhere near it. You know, whatever we need to do. So it does take pictures.
Richard Weaver, lot 408.
Generac.
I'm sorry?
The Generac.
Well, I have a number of issues, but
Okay.
I'm not here for that.
Okay.
I know they'll get resolved. The reason I'm here is because I'm listening to what all the other homeowners are saying. I think it's very obvious that there are extreme number of inconsistencies of what's going on here. And I will point out one thing. 2 to 3 months ago, they tore out my clean out. My clean out was in the ground. Not at the same time, I had dirt for yard because the mower deck was so low that it caught the clean out and tore it up. Nobody said anything. I found it myself. So the reason I'm standing here right now is to say, I don't know what your protocol is for daily discussions with your teams, but they're not listening if you're having them. And if they are listening, I think you need to change your protocol. It's very disappointing to be in a nice community. And it was very nice. I appreciate the information that you presented tonight, because I had no idea what you were doing with the common areas and all that kind of stuff, which is very appreciative because it is. But as a homeowner and the kind of money we put into our homes here, it's very disappointing when your yard is getting scalped, when your people that are using edgers don't know how to use them, or, it just, when I see what's going on and I see them going, and I'm being facetious, but I see them going through the back of the yard 100 miles an hour, I mean, it just doesn't make sense. And they're hitting things. You talk about curbing. It's crazy. So in behalf of myself, and I hope everybody that's here tonight, you really need to focus on that line level person and then coming up the ranks to your position, because something's not getting carried through. Now, I understand, I heard tonight that you made changes. I applaud you, because some of the staff that I've seen has been very disappointing. I've kept my mouth shut, which is very hard for me because I've been in business a long time and retired. But I want to help create a solution, not a problem. So, if there's anything I can do to help, I'm willing to do whatever, but it's very disappointing and discouraging. One thing I will comment on, somebody brought up the fact that they're creating trenches in the yard between the houses. I think you need to look at the way you're cutting the yards, because they're cutting the yards the same way every time. I've got trenches in my yard, which I didn't have before. So, look, I'm not in the lawn care business. I don't want to be in the lawn care business. But please, focus on what you're doing. And whatever you're doing on a daily basis, I don't know how hard it is to set your mower and take care of it. But somehow the mower gets set at the wrong height, and all you hear about is, it's 4 inches, it's 4 inches, it's 4 inches. Well, not when it's sand, that's not 4 inches. I also know that you've got some decks that are bent, because you can see when they cut, it's like this. I appreciate what you're trying to do. I hope it can get resolved. And I also hope that there can be another meeting, maybe in a couple months, so we can follow up and maybe get some positive.
Absolutely. That's one of the reasons why we wanted to do this. They all said we were crazy, but I'm like, no. The only way we're going to know what truly is being done out there is that, and I will stand behind my integrity. I will stand behind the quality of the stuff that we do and trying to make it better. The only way we can make it better is to find out what's going on. And, I learned, I may be older than most of these guys up here, but I still learn things on a day-to-day basis. So, and that's what I want to take into it, is that when I talk about change, I change things, not just change and say, hey, I changed it. I change it for a reason. I change it to make things better. There should be no reason why you change it unless it's going to get better. So I do recognize your name, and I talked to you probably on the phone.
Maybe.
But
I've talked to a few people, thank you.
But again, when I don't know about things, I can't help it out. And that's one of the things I changed about myself, is that to be a better branch manager, that even though I have 2 willing and able managers, it's not, how do you say, micromanaging, but I just want to know what's going on a little bit for myself, so that way when I do interact with the residents, that I know what's going on.
Well, and I mean, when you hear the inconsistencies where this person's very happy, everybody should be very happy. But you've got different things going.
Absolutely, but
I'm sure you'll take care of it.
No, I appreciate your time, and I appreciate the comments, and good, bad, and the ugly. We're here to take them all, and we'll reconvene, and Absolutely, Marie will write that down, that we'll do it again. Today is, I don't even know what today is, August, September, October. Let's try not to do it on Halloween, but we'll do it in October, if that's what the board decides that we can do.
I'm sorry I'm coming back again. Barbara Gain at lot 1015. My only other problem is when you blow the grass, they keep on blowing into my garage. And when I tell you I can bring out batches of grass from the garage, why don't they just blow it back down toward the street? 1 week they'll do it that way. The next week, you get a whole bunch of grass into the garage or into my front vestibule where I have a screened in. And you get tons of grass.
Absolutely, we will make another training point for that. As we like to call them, Gantt charts and how to and path of motions. Uh-oh, they're running.
Vaughn Parker, lot 1024. I came in late, but I think it's one clear thing that needs to change, and the speed in which people are traveling, both in the yard and on the street. It's gonna cause someone to get hurt. Even the vehicles that carry the equipment. I live at 1024, which is right at the back of the clubhouse, and they come past there going as if there's a fire. And that carries on in the properties. I think if we slow things down, we won't have the damages that we have. I can say, once I stop you at my speed in my yard, it fixed it. So I know that if you slow down, it will fix it. Thank you for your time.
Absolutely, thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Barry Owens, lot 81. Again, thank you guys for being here to listen to us, and hopefully, improvements become about. I know I've worked quite a bit with Bryce. I use your system. I've sent pictures, did all that stuff. The one part, scalping the sides of the house, the St. Augustine grass down to the dirt, all the way around it. We addressed it a couple months ago. I'm glad to see the one guy's no longer with you. Bryce came out again last week, and I didn't even mention that because I was looking at a different issue, and he goes, they did it again. Because they run the whole house again, a second time. It grows back, but it takes a while. The blowing of the grass, again, they start at the street, and I'm telling you, I go out there when I can because it takes them several hours once they trim it before they come back and blow it. I'll go out there and sweep it all up because I get dirt and grass, and it fills up a half a barrel in the garage. So I go out there and sweep it up and put it away. Otherwise, they just blow back in the yards. But they'll start at the street, and they'll blow it up towards the house where I have everything clean, rocks, things that I don't want dirty. And I have to go out there with a broom and sweep the whole damn thing, blow out the rocks. So there's just those kind of things. So I'd appreciate that. And then if the grass, when it does get long, lately it's like it gets to be mounds of grass in my yard. I got to go out and scatter it or move it around or pick it up because if I leave it there for a week or more, the grass under starts dying. So I don't know if you can mow over those a second time or what you do to reduce that, would be nice.
If they during the harvest activity, they need to be going back over them.
Okay, and I know Bryce is out there, he's seen it, and he said, I'm having to come back. So
Yeah.
Bryce has been a good job coming out there and looking at stuff, so I appreciate that.
No problem. Again, I appreciate you coming forward and letting us know. Again, the blowing will definitely have a how-to class again. Yep.
All right, gentlemen. Appreciate you all being here. Very helpful, very useful. Keep it going, keep it up. I know you're trying to do a great job. I'm happy with what I'm seeing and the progress. So very, very good. Keep it up. Thank you all. Thank you all for coming out. We'll see you again.